Welcome back to Night Mind, friends. And welcome back to my only special in the glorious month of October dedicated to the freaks for fiends, Monster Hunt. We've discussed urban legends of many kinds, from the bloodthirsty to the ghostly, famous, infamous, and the secrets to locals. This year, we're taking a more field-based, cryptid-focused approach. A little more hunt in our monster hunt, you see. And don't worry, everything in our sites is still delightfully lethal. Grab your field journals, your backpacks, and put on a jacket. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Caught in a jagged puzzle of farmland, splotches of forest, and hidden swamps, Bladenboro, North Carolina was a friendly town in 1953 with a population of around 800 people. On December 29th, a resident was at home getting comfortable for the night when she suddenly heard her neighbor's dogs barking. This was routine living in an area where wild animals passing through in the night was a common affair. Her attempt to turn in for the night was interrupted when the dog's whines turned to horrifying yelps. The woman stepped out to see what was causing the commotion and froze in place. A beast with luminous eyes stared at her from the edge of the woods. For a moment, they both stood still. The woman held her breath as the creature bolted out of the neighbor's yard and into the forest surrounding the neighborhood. At the time, this was nothing more than just a random encounter with some local wildlife. The woman didn't see a reason to report the disturbance. Over the next 2 days, Chief Force of the Bladenboro Police received multiple reports of distressing encounters, which ceased until New Year's Eve, when he was notified of strange activity on the farm of local resident Woody Storm. The chief arrived on the scene to find 2 of Storm's dogs massacred in a manner never before witnessed. The jaws of the dogs had been broken and their heads crushed flat. Only something of immense size and power could have committed these attacks. But most disturbingly, their bodies were completely drained of blood. This new threat quickly circulated, and as more animals were found mangled and drained of their blood, residents began to fear for their lives. Johnny Voss, whose 2 dogs became the beast's meal, had this to say. "My dogs put up a good fight. There was blood all over the porch, big puddles of it, and there was a pool of saliva on the porch. It killed one dog at 10:30 and left it lying there. My dad wrapped the dog up in a blanket. That thing came back and got that dog, and nobody's seen the dog since. At 1:30 in the morning, it came back and killed the other dog and took it off. We found it 3 days later in a hedgerow. The top of one of the dog's heads was torn off and its body was crushed and wet, like it had been in that thing's mouth. The other dog's lower jaw was torn off." Reports fled to the police station over the span of a few weeks as multiple animals were found killed or maimed. Despite the dozens of reports, no one was able to correctly identify what exactly was hunting this town. The Beast of Bladenboro was becoming somewhat of a tabloid. Each story brought a new piece of evidence that wouldn't bring authorities any closer to an answer to what this beast was. Witness accounts would say the beast was a bear or potentially a panther. One aspect that most would agree on was that its call was vicious, as if a woman were being stabbed in the back with a knife. With heightened media attention and concern from the county, professional hunters came rushing to Bladenboro, and several entertainment opportunists. Dick Hilburn, a painter and entertainer from the area, helped create the legend of the Beast of Bladenboro as we now know it. His sale of products capturing the idea of a vampiric creature elevated the beast to a height of notoriety on par with Bigfoot. People flocked to the area to catch a glimpse of the lurking horror. Rumors spread and exaggerated tales were passed around by hunters just to earn themselves a reputation. According to newspaper reports, the first finding related to the beast came when a hunter found a paw print about the size of a silver dollar. Despite the extra firepower now living in Bladenboro, activity heightened to a new level of alarm. It was January 5th when the Beast of Bladenboro would attack its first human. Much like the first sighting of the beast, Mrs. C.E. Kinslaw was in her home when she heard the sound of dogs being attacked outside. When she went to investigate, the beast's attention turned to her. A large, cat-like creature emerged from the shadows and sprang upon Mrs. Kinslaw. Her scream rang out in the night. Mrs. Kinslaw's husband immediately ran outside to see what was happening, frightening off the beast. Nearly 300 hunters swarmed the county day and night. The entire town would lock themselves indoors upon sunset. The Beast of Bladenboro was now a monster of legend. On January 13th, the mayor of Bladenboro, Bob Fussell, would call the hunt to an end. In the night, a local farmer captured a bobcat on his property in an iron trap and promptly fired a bullet into its brain. The beast wasn't even cold before headlines were printed and the town breathed a collective sigh of relief. The wild animal was hung from a flagpole in the center of town and a sign was posted stating, "This is the beast of Bladenboro." Cars lined down the street to get a view of this creature of legend. The hunters left. No more killings were reported. The beast of Bladenboro had either vanished back into the darkness or slowly decayed at the end of a flagpole. Despite the death of the bobcats, nearly a year later, there would be yet another gruesome event that would mark the town. As if back with a vengeance, on the morning of December 15th, 1954, 5 pigs and 3 chickens were found with their legs ripped from their body and their skulls crushed. Despite this massacre, not a drop of blood was left in the bodies. The beast of Bladenboro, in consideration of all reported incidents, could have been chalked up to any sort of large animal attack, even accounting for all of its ferocity. What makes this creature the stuff of legend is the most haunting element of its attacks: blood draining. What manner of animal mutilates its prey and drains it of blood so sufficiently as to leave nothing behind? It's clear the bobcat was not the end of whatever plagued Bladenboro, and whatever manner of monster it is, if it was capable of continuing its lineage in any form, it may still be out there. From North Carolina, we move west towards the Missouri River, nearly 2,500 miles of water acting as the primary artery of the Midwest, providing sustenance and transportation for man and creature alike. Life on the river has been well researched and cataloged, except for one peculiar case. In 1921, Melvin Randolph Gilmore, the one-time curator for the North Dakota State Historical Society, wrote the following. It is said that long ago there was a mysterious being within the stream of the Missouri River. It was seldom seen by human beings and was most dreadful to see. It is said that sometimes it was seen within the water in the middle of the stream, causing a redness shining like the redness of fire as it passed up the stream against the current with a terrific roaring sound. And they say that if this dreadful being was seen by anyone in the daytime, anyone who thus saw it soon after became crazy and continued restless and writhing as though in pain until he was relieved by death. Those who've witnessed the Missouri River monster since and kept their sanity claim it's a beast of fiery red fur, with a singular obsidian eye resting at the center of its brow, beneath a fearsome horn pointing towards the sky. The most fearsome detail about this monster is its jagged spine, a ridge of bone that shreds through its own flesh and is sharp enough to cleave the winter's ice as it glides beneath the frozen river. None who witness its terrible form live much longer than the time it takes to share the details. It's been said that catching a glimpse of its flaming pelt beneath the bright light of the sun seals one's fate, and as spring awakens, locals must avert their gaze from the river's edge, lest they catch sight of the monster, the Miniwashitu. The first whispers of this creature echo from a time long before European footsteps touched North American soil. Not seen, but heard, its existence unveiled through a deafening roar that splits the air along with the ice as it surges upriver. Only in the stillness of a winter's moonlit night might one catch a glimpse of the beast without inviting death. The Mandan people of the region are reported to have known the perils that lurk beneath the shimmering surface of the river. Knowledge concerning the beast was shared with early traders from 1782 to 1837, and those who settled there came to understand that while the winter brought threats of cold and starvation, the promise of spring brought with it a different fear: the return of the Miniwashitu. Not much is known about this legend, nor is it as widely publicized as the beast of Bladenboro, though we can easily attribute that to a lack of opportunists who wish to make a spectacle of the mystery for business. It's hard to say what could be responsible for this legend. While the American bison and grizzly bear are the closest animals we can match to the red fur of the Miniwashitu, it's impossible to attribute the unique horn and jagged backbone to these creatures, let alone its single dark eye. One of the more fascinating elements of this tale is the insanity inflicted on witnesses. That suggestion of seeing something so terrible, so otherworldly, that it drives one mad and curses them to a quick death. With how early the tale was told, it doesn't seem like a tantalizing detail just to add for the sake of spread. As we leave the Missouri River, we have to wonder, just what happened here to inspire that part of the tale? Our journey's final leg takes us south to the Texan-Mexican border, drawn by the lure of a monster unique to the region. Across the world, Owls are an animal either revered or feared, and have served as inspiration for many supernatural events. The infamous Mothman is often argued to be nothing more than a barred owl. These majestic beings can represent wealth, prosperity, and fortune, or the deadly nature of the night. La Lechuza is a towering white owl with the hunting face of an old crone. Her wings, stretching 15 feet wide, beat with enough power to lift full-grown men from the ground, clutched in fearsome long talons. According to local interviews, this creature was once a cursed woman who now seeks revenge for her affliction in the dark of the night. In some accounts, villagers killed her child, inspiring a turn to darkness for the power to avenge their deaths. In others, it was the town drunk who inspired this heinous act of transformation. No matter who is telling the story, the same dark thread weaves through. She sold her soul to the devil for the power to transform by moonlight, and the deal didn't end in her favor. The cry of La Lechuza is haunting, often sounding eerily similar to that of a baby, luring the unsuspecting into a trap. But similar to the Minuashitu, even this sound carries danger. Hear it, and you or someone in your family line will soon perish. Encounters claim her anger is as legendary as her appearance, and threats of this rage were often used to scare children into coming home by night and staying there. Despite the wide variety of claims of those who have encountered La Lechuza, not everyone can agree on the ruthlessness of her wrath. Some say La Lechuza only hunts alcoholic men. Others say she craves the blood of unbaptized newborn babies. Whatever the case, one bit of advice is often shared. Do not whistle 3 times at midnight, as this will invite La Lechuza to find you. There have been many ways those who fear La Lechuza have tried to avoid her attention. Pouring salt by one's windowsill is a decades-old method with mixed rates of success. Tying 7 knots into a rope and hanging it on the front door is also a rumored layer of protection. If all else fails, prayer might be your saving grace, keeping an agent of the devil at bay. In consideration of owls as cause for fright, it's not hard to see why a bright reflecting pair of eyes towering above your head can cause terror, especially when those eyes belong to a ghostly visage overhead. The idea of La Lechuza in some depictions, a massive owl with a crone's face, brings to mind old depictions of demons, like those King Solomon subjugated at his temple. Likewise, many urban legends speaking to animal-based horrors present concepts of human faces and appendages, creatures caught between states, horrifying witnesses with the sight of what surely can't be. A mixture of large animal danger and fear of witches on the dark side of craft, La Lechuza's legend is easy to understand, especially in context of a cautionary tale against misbehaving children and adults alike. The desert, too, brings about high levels of strangeness and superstition. While presenting a striking humanoid horror to contemplate, this tale doesn't drive us much to speculate. All the same, to anyone traveling through the Texan-Mexican region, or camping in its deserts, just remember that what you hear late at night may not be what you believe. And so closes another trek to explore the darker side of the wild. While we can list some well-known cryptids and legends, I hope you share my enthusiasm for discovering the things out there that haven't been talked about nearly as much, and that it drives your imagination while adding a little more to that October chill. That's all for tonight, everyone. Thanks to all of you for watching. Thanks to my new editor, Moone, for composing the foundation draft of the script for this video and its visual build. Thanks to my beloved Graficado for the awesome field journal illustrations of our monsters. And thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon, a wide array of cryptids, creatures, and curiosities who've seen me through so many Octobers. You can support the work of Nightmind and the Nightmind Index for new and undiscovered nonfiction projects for as little as just $2 a month. You'll even get to join all the names of these supporters at the end of this video. For those of you who are just now discovering Monster Hunt, the night can last a lot longer. There's a playlist for this series as well as our other October tradition, the SCP Vault, in the video description, so you can keep the October fun going as long as you like. There are also a few other Halloween-flavored offerings over on Nightmind Live, such as the series Jack-O-Lantern and the full dive into the classic Slenderman series, Tulpa Effect. A link to Nightmind Live will be in the video description, as well as the playlist for all the October offerings. Thanks for joining me in the dark again this evening, and for yet another October special. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and I'll be seeing you again real soon. Until our next scary expedition, be sure to listen for any interesting local tales you might hear, and sleep tight.